The J. Michaels Show.
Great episode for you tonight. We have Venus Miranda. She is a UFO blogger, and we're going to be talking to her and meeting her. Venus, say hello to the audience.
Well, hello, audience. How are you doing?
Audience and we are doing really good. So
Good.
Take a moment and just tell us a little about yourself and what you do in the UFO field.
Sure. So I'm a skeptical UFO blogger. I blog on X. So I used to blog on Facebook. That's been on hold for a little while. But that's basically what I do. I blog on X, and then I also make videos as well. Same kind of thing, just talking about skeptical points of view when it comes to ufology.
Okay. So how would you do? Are you a non-believer or just skeptical?
I'm just skeptical. I would say I wouldn't say I'm a believer or a non-believer. I'm just waiting for evidence.
Right. What do you think of all of this new information that's been coming out in the last year or so by the government?
I think it's nothing new, really, that we haven't heard. I don't see anything that is anything that's out there in your face that just screams that we're learning anything new.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's just the same rhetoric, just wrapped up in a different kind of bow.
Yeah. Do you think that UFOs are alien or what?
Well, with me being skeptical, that's where that skepticism comes in.
Right.
Where I have to say, I don't know.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with saying, I don't know, you know?
Right.
Do you plan on doing a book or a podcast or something with your information?
You know, that depends. I've thought about it. I do have a book in mind that I've been considering for the last couple of years. And I've thought about doing a podcast. I used to do one a while ago. I'm not sure if I want to redo one, but I do really like to do the videos on my own. That I will continue to do. I've taken a little bit of a hiatus from writing and doing the videos for the last couple of months because I had been ill.
Yeah.
But once I get back to it, I'll definitely be doing those. The book, though, I really think it might ruffle some feathers, so it's something that I really want to do in the future. It's just being well enough to be able to do it, but that's in the plans. It's in the works. That it's in my mind that I really want to get it done.
Why do you think it's going to ruffle feathers?
Because it has to do with MUFON and some exposure on MUFON.
So move on feathers. But is it like you think it's going to be controversial?
Well, I think that MUFON, I've had some run-ins with MUFON online with some people that represent MUFON, some of the higher-ups. And let's just say that they don't like any kind of press that is not in a positive light towards them. And so I think that they wouldn't like me to write a book about their organization. So I think it would ruffle some of their feathers, which is the point.
Yeah. Well, what projects are you working on right now?
So, like I said, I've taken a little bit of a hiatus because I've been ill. I've got some autoimmune disorders. And so right now my projects are all on hold. And so it's just a matter of just scrolling around, seeing what's going on, and then hopefully getting back to it. But when I do get back to it, it'll be the same. It'll be writing, it'll be more videos, participating in the conversation, that kind of thing. And then we'll see what happens from there. I've participated in some rooms over on X where, you know, we all talk about what's going on in the field. And I've been invited to other interviews, so I'm hoping that in time I'm able to do more interviews. And maybe a podcast of my own if I become well enough to be able to do that. I've had other people ask me to do them. And it, you know, kind of enthusiastically asked me, you know, will you please do them? You know, that we think you'd be really good at doing them. And so I've considered it, and I'm still considering it. So hopefully, in the future, that will be a part of it. I did start a YouTube, but I only put one video up there so far. But, that is something that if I do start a podcast, it would go up on a YouTube page.
Yeah. Well, Brian Robart and I started a thing on Sunday evenings live called Strange Mysteries. And honestly, I consider you as co-host for that. But I knew that you were ill, and I didn't want to bother you. But anyway, if you are interested in coming in with us, I would love to have you on that show.
Well, I'm flattered that you considered me, and I'm flattered that you're inviting me, and I appreciate that. Yeah. Again, it's something that several people have actually mentioned to me, because my videos do very well on X. I usually get a few thousand views, anywhere between 2,000 to 5,000, sometimes more. So I do really well on my videos. And so that's, sometimes my writings also get that much, but my videos just kind of take off. And so that is something that I'm looking more into when I do get better.
Do you have any personal experiences of UFOs or UFO-related things?
I do. Yes,
okay.
I do.
Go into detail. Tell me about that.
So I can tell you, some of them are a little bit more in-depth, but I had an experience when I was a teenager where I saw a ship in the air, or what looked like a ship, for an extended period of time, very close up, where it looked like you could throw something at it and hit it. That's how close it was. The experience was such an extended period of time that I would go in the house and come back outside of the house and it was still there.
Yeah.
And so those were the early 90s. Those were the times where we didn't carry around cell phones. So we didn't have cameras on the ready. And so, but that experience led to another experience during the same week where I had missing time a couple of days. I had 5 hours of missing time twice in that same week. And so after I had that experience, I just blew it off, and I don't know why. It just didn't dawn on me to think about it much more than that. I was young. I was still, in my early teens. And so, but I had a really, I would say a life-changing experience in my 30s. It frightened me very much. And that experience...
Can you go into detail? Tell us about what happened.
Yeah, so there was a long gap between seeing that ship and having that missing time, which happened in the early 90s, into, I think I was in my late 30s, maybe, 36, 37, 38, somewhere around there, when I had another experience. I actually had this overwhelming feeling that I was going to be visited and taken away by extraterrestrial beings.
Okay.
I don't know where that feeling came from. It just washed over me one day. And I started announcing to everybody that they were going to come and take me away and not to let them take me away, which is not in my character. So during that week, electronics started going off in my house. So much so even my children noticed. The TVs would go on and off, the smoke alarms would go on and off, the weird things were happening. And all of a sudden, one night I was sitting there reading, and a being appeared in front of me.
A being.
So a being, some kind of being.
What did it look like?
It had a large head, and I could see when it turned its head, it had something like a huge portion to the back of the head, and it didn't say anything to me, really. It just was there, and it just kept staring at me, and I kept staring at it, and it was, I would say maybe in height. I mean, I'm only 5'2", so maybe about my same height, but it was there for an extended period of time, and And then I don't know how long I stared at it, and it stared at me.
Wow.
And then after a while, because I was reading in bed, so after a while I decided to put the covers over my head, thinking it would go away. And I did, and it did. But then a couple of days later, the same thing happened again, where a being showed up again. And this time, I had some communication, but it was not verbal. There was communication about my age, telling me that this is the last time that it was coming, or they were coming. They came to check on me. Something about me being too old now, and I was frightened. So again, after a while, I just kind of snuck under my covers and put covers over my head, thinking it would go away.
Yeah.
And I got smacked and hit on my left hip by a hand, and I could feel the fingers on my hip. They were cold. They weren't slimy, but they were cold, kind of like if you touch a snake.
Yeah.
And I woke up, or not woke up, I was already awake. I just got out of my bed, startled, screaming. And and then there was nothing there after that.
Yeah.
And so I was so frightened by that experience. But that was the last time I had an experience like that. Afterwards, I did have some weird things happening to me. I was seeing people that were supposedly dead. I was seeing that kind of stuff.
Oh, wow.
And after about a week or two, it started to fade away.
Yeah.
But that experience was very, very frightening to me. I also had a burn mark right here on my chest area that developed, and so it was probably the size of a quarter. And so, unfortunately, I didn't take a picture of that. I just didn't think of these things at the time because I wasn't into this stuff. I wasn't really blogging. I wasn't doing any of this stuff, so I didn't really think about it. Although I showed the burn to somebody, but it was so frightening. I felt very, very violated.
Yeah.
And I felt like I couldn't figure out how something got into my home more than once.
Right.
And very scared. And so, and now I'm 46 years old, so that was my late 30s, and I was told that was the last time I would see something like that. They were coming, and that was the very last thing I have experienced. And I'm hoping that that's the last, that's true, because for me, it was not all this love and light that a lot of people talk about. For me, it was a very frightening experience.
Terrifying. Okay, so in your opinion, what are these? Are they aliens? Demons, some people think? You know, the vice president says that he believes that they're demons. What do you think they are?
Well, my opinion on his opinion is I think that's an irresponsible thing for him to say.
Yeah.
Demons have a religious connotation to them, and not everybody is religious. And so I am not religious. I'm an atheist, and so believing in a demon or a devil is not something that's up my alley.
Right.
And so having an opinion on what they are, I really don't have one because I don't know. It still falls under the realm for me of I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know, a lot of people have very firm beliefs that they are extraterrestrial or they're interdimensional or something like that. You know, you said something. You said that it felt cold when it touched your hip. Are you thinking cold-blooded?
I don't know, but I know I've touched I've been to the zoo, so I've touched a snake before, and it felt the same way, right? Just cold. But when it touched me, I actually felt really long fingers, and I felt 3 fingers, which was odd. So I don't know, as far as that goes. That would just be a guess. But all I know is it felt the exact same way.
Yeah. Have you ever met other people who have had a similar or exact experience that you have had?
I did hear from somebody that described the same kind of ship that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Only one person, because I didn't see something that you typically would hear described
Right.
or see in a photo. And I think maybe early spring, somebody said something to me when I described it that they had seen something similar,
Yeah.
which was the first time I ever heard somebody say that.
Yeah. Do you have any memories whatsoever being taken aboard a ship?
I don't, but what I do remember is when I saw that ship in the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
and I had the missing time, I do recall being taken,
Mm-hmm.
like whooshed away, because I could hear it in my ears. And I recall coming back because I can hear the same whooshing in my ears when I came back both times that I was gone. And I recall being told to look at the time before I was taken. And when I came back, I was told to look at the time again after I came back.
How long were you gone?
I was gone for 5 hours each time.
Wow.
And so it's almost like when you hear things in your head, like if you hear thoughts of yourself, just having thoughts in your head of things.
Right.
I could hear thoughts of things saying things to me, but it wasn't me saying them. I know that. But that's all I remember. I don't remember anything inside of those 5 hours.
She moved the camera. Okay, so let's I had my puppy came through and bumped my camera. Yeah. So what is so you think that all of this is over now? It's not going to happen again?
My hope is that what I was told is true.
Yeah.
Because everybody has their own, I guess, story to tell.
Right.
But I don't tend to believe people that talk about all this love and light and they just want to be around us to be giving and caring and help us.
Right.
Whatever they are. I don't believe that. My experiences were so frightening that that if it ever happened to me again, like I feel like, and not to compare myself to it, but I almost feel like I was raped. I feel very violated. And so I hope that it never ever happens again.
Right.
I hope that what I was told is true. I know there are some people that want to see these things, whatever they are.
Right.
I don't ever want to see them ever again.
Yeah.
Even if I had the opportunity and someone told me I could just call them, like Stephen Greer says. If I could just call them to me, I would not ever do it again. It was so frightening for me. No.
Do you think that it's possible that some of the illnesses that you have now is directly related to your abduction?
Because we don't know what exactly is happening, I can't say yes or no to that. You know, I think if we ever figure out, then I think we could, I think we can make that judgment at that time. I think there's not enough evidence either way.
So you believe that their purpose for being here is more maniacal and not benevolent?
I think that I've never had an opinion on that. Because I don't know if, even though I have seen what I've seen, I'm still skeptical of what I've seen. I don't know if what I've seen is extraterrestrial. And that's what makes me skeptical, is because I'm even skeptical of my own experiences.
Yeah.
I could clearly jump to and say, well, they were alien, they were extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
And come to a conclusion, but part of my skeptical nature doesn't allow me to fully believe that. So I don't have an opinion either way on that.
Do you think that they're studying human biology in some way?
I think that would still fall under the same thing. Yeah, just me being skeptical and not being able to have an opinion because I don't know if they're actually extraterrestrials here or what that was. And now I can describe what happened to me. Yeah. I can describe what things looked like, but I can't tell you what they were. I don't know.
Right. You said that the saucer, the ship itself, was not typical. It didn't look like what most people report. What shape was it?
It looked like a if you go underwater and look at it like a ship, kind of like a battleship underneath the water. If you were to look at it from underneath, it looked like that. But it almost looked like it was made of wood, although it had shiny parts to it. And so it had the shape of a ship that you would see on the water, not in the air. And I've never seen, even in drawings that people have where they have different shapes that have been described. I've always looked at them and I've never seen that typical shape in the air. Did
it have sails? Did it seem to have sails or something on it?
It almost had like some sails on it. I think that I think the closest thing would be I believe somebody mentioned maybe like a really, really old airship where they had a description of maybe sails on it and things like that, like really, really old. But I don't see anything currently that is in any kind of literature where people have described anything recently that looks like that.
So it was not a sphere, an orb. It wasn't a flying saucer. It had this very unique shape to it. Did it appear to have any surfaces on it that would be considered conventional, like wings or propeller?
No, it literally looked like a ship that should be on the water. And you could see through it to the other side.
Oh.
So you could see this, like the sky was clear, so you could see the stars through it. And it hovered there for a long time. And by the time it left, it actually hovered slowly off. It didn't just take off. Yeah. It just hovered little by little until it eventually disappeared into the distance.
So do you think that it was possibly partially cloaked or kind of translucent?
Yes, it seemed that way. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Interesting. Now, the beings themselves, were they your typical grays?
I think if we were to compare what is described as a typical gray, I think that I would say yes.
Yeah, they were. Mm-hmm. I was going to ask you, did you see this Disclosure movie, and was there anything in it that reminded you of your encounters?
I saw it, and no.
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
I was kind of disappointed. It was built up so much. I kept expecting it to be just phenomenal, and when it was over, I was kind of like, man, that was that. But it was interesting, but it didn't really fit anything that I've studied.
Yeah, well, movies are just that. They're meant for entertainment, and, that's about it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Even things that are supposed to be documentaries, they're still throwing things in that are for entertainment, so people are entertained by watching it, and there's nothing new. And,
right.
And I don't, there's never been a movie that I've watched that are about aliens that's ever been triggering to me that's been so familiar.
Yeah.
So, I just don't see any of that out there. I think maybe anybody that had an experience that maybe was able to replicate it close enough, maybe so, but there's nothing. nothing out there.
Oh, I noticed you have a lot of pictures and posters behind you. Roswell. Have you ever been to Roswell, and what is your opinion on that one?
So I've not had the pleasure of going there yet. I do plan on going. My opinion on Roswell is, I'm not real sure. Sometimes I think that there was a crash and that there was a cover up, and then sometimes evidence comes out and it seems like there wasn't. That it was, it just depends on what kind of evidence you're looking at and who you're talking to, So my opinions on Roswell go back and forth.
Yeah.
And I've asked other people's opinions on it, and other people have had the same opinion. Some people believe Roswell was an alien crash, and then some people have all of this information where they think that, it wasn't.
Right.
And they have all their reasons why. And so there's so many varying opinions on it. And there's a lot of reasons to believe either way, that something either extraterrestrial occurred or something didn't. So at this point, I still think that there's not enough evidence to make a determination for anything either way. And I think that includes Roswell.
Yeah. Well, what would be hard evidence for you? What are you looking for? What do you hope to find?
Well, I think it would be, I think to, in the same words as Neil deGrasse Tyson, bring the alien out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that simple. If we have them, bring them out. If we have some kind of concrete evidence, bring it out. Because everything else is stories. Yes, we have some government files. We're talking about the same things all the time. But, when we're talking about stories, or people are talking to each other about what they may have seen or what pilots may have seen or what the government might know, there's a lot of the whole just trust me bro things going on that's been going on for a long time, right? But where's the actual evidence?
Yeah.
And so what I'm looking for is something that can be something tangible, something you can touch, something you can, something that you can, that's tangible, and we just don't have that yet. Bring out the alien, bring out the ship, bring out something.
Exactly.
And I noticed a lot of times that ruffles feathers with people. Yeah. They don't want to hear that. They think we have enough evidence, but stories are not evidence. And that includes stories from the government.
Yeah. And people keep waiting for the government to disclose. And honestly, I've always believed that ufologists know far more about this subject than the government knows. I don't think that they necessarily have anything to disclose, even though they would have, wonderful gun camera footage and things like that. I don't know if they may have pieces, but do they have a full craft? And do they have bodies? I'm like you. Bring me the alien. Let me see it.
Sure. Yeah. And there's two sides to that. If they have something disclosing it, what would happen? Do we need to know?
Yeah.
And would they disclose it really? And then there's the other side of it. Do they really have anything? I think you might be right. And that's my thought, is the bits and pieces they have is the bits and pieces that we all have. None of us is really, there's pieces of puzzles, but not, the whole puzzle is not put together.
Right.
And until that whole puzzle is put together, what is there to really disclose to people?
Exactly. And then there's the, like you said, maybe this is something we don't need to know. I mean, once you let that genie out of the bottle, you can't put it back in. And it may be too terrifying to know what it really is.
Right. Yeah, and the government would need to, all governments would need to admit, because we are seeing things in the air that we don't know what they are right now.
Right.
And who's controlling them. And the government would really need to come out and admit that they don't have full control. And if that happens, which I think we all underneath know that they don't have full control, But for them to come out and say, look, we don't know what's happening yet, we don't have full control over it, would really send some people into a spiral. So they just allow us to assume that, of course, if they had full control, they would know what it is. But they're not going to come out and get people all riled up and all of that on purpose. They're just not.
Exactly.
You know, so would it be any good for not just Americans, but, you know, people in other countries? Probably not.
Yeah.
You know, so if they find something out, they have to weigh that. Is it going to cause some kind of mass disruption on what we already have set up on this planet?
And you bring up an interesting point. It's not just the United States government. China, Russia, North Korea, anyone could suddenly come out and show what they have, and that could disrupt things. Do you think that another government might one-up our government at some point and release something that maybe we don't want released? You know, our government doesn't want released. Do you think that it could become a tit-for-tat debacle between governments of who will release something first?
Sure. I think that could happen only if it benefited the other country.
Right.
So if they release something and then it put them ahead of us or anybody else, and it made them the top dog and they were in control, then why not do it? You know? So I think that's possible if they ever had anything, any technology. You know, but we could also go the other way and say, well, they could keep it secret and use it against us, you know. But I think either way, it would be beneficial for another country to use it in some fashion, especially if the United States is ahead of everybody else, you know, as far as supposedly the country with most power in on Earth, then, you know, someone else is definitely going to want to try to get ahead of them if they can.
Well, you hit on the word right there a few moments ago. It's all about control. They want to control the message. They want to control the technology. They all want to be in control of all of this. Do you think that if there was disclosure, would it be releasing that control, losing control?
I would think so. Yes. Yeah. I don't think there's anything to disclose in my personal opinion at this point. Yeah. But I think that if there was something to disclose, they would have to then admit that they're releasing control of something they don't know about. I think we would have to get to a point they would need to know exactly what's going on, and then be able to announce what they're going to do about it.
Right.
And without having all of the in-between done, you know, because we're going to have a lot of questions, then there's no need to let us know anything. Yeah. You know? So, so they're not going to release that kind of control without having answers first.
Well, so far all we've seen is some really cool videos and some not so impressive videos, some documents and photos, and that's it. Do you think that it will go beyond that? We will get something really extraordinary, or are we just waiting for something they don't have?
I think that we're waiting for something they don't have.
Yeah.
With the hope that maybe one day we'll get something extraordinary. And who knows, maybe not from our government, but maybe from just, we have a lot of civilian organizations working on it that have scientists that are starting to come up to the forefront. Yeah. That are trying to monitor the sky. So maybe it won't come from our government that ends up having any kind of evidence. Maybe it will come from somebody else. Yeah. Because the government, even if they have something, let's say one of these other organizations that put themselves together that have you know, different kind of scientists and everything that's working on it. Let's say they have something,
Yeah.
they're under no obligation, and they have no reason not to disclose that.
Yeah.
Most of them probably don't care how it's going to affect the
Right.
people in any of the countries. So I think that what they care about is if they have that they're the first ones to release it.
Yeah.
And so is it more likely that they will release it than any of the governments? Probably so. If they had anything, they would release it. They would be ahead of everybody, and they would want to win that prize.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that's if
I have often said that I think that if true disclosure ever happens, it's not going to come from a government. It'll come from them, the aliens or whatever they are. They will make that decision. We might not have any say in it whatsoever. It'll just happen.
Yeah.
And like you say, other governments could put up what they have. Speaking of organizations, you have an organization in San Antonio. Tell me about your UFO organization.
Yeah, so the San Antonio Aerial Phenomenon Research Organization is the organization that I started out with. Mm-hmm. And I was investigating reports that were sent to me. Mm-hmm. Right now I don't investigate them, but I do still collect reports. And so those reports will be archived permanently in New Mexico. And so I still encourage people to file reports, even though they won't be investigated. I think when people have an experience and they don't report it to others, they don't report it somewhere, that's a problem, because we're losing information. There's so many people that have had different experiences that decide not to report things. Yeah. And I keep encouraging people to do so. It doesn't have to be with me, but I do encourage them not to report it to MUFON. Report it with an organization that keeps their records open.
Yeah.
MUFON, their records are closed. They don't share them with anybody. And so all of the reports might end up being lost or at least hidden. Right. So go anywhere else where the records will stay open.
Well, who do you recommend to report it to? Maybe the National UFO Reporting Center, or where?
Yes. Yeah, that would be a good place to report it to. Yeah. Yeah, or you can report it to me, I don't know of any other organization, to be honest with you, besides MUFON that keeps their records closed.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be a good place to go. Mm-hmm.
Do you think that you might ever end up on one of these TV documentaries because of your interest? Would you be interested in that?
I'm a little shy.
Uh-huh.
I was actually, I think last year, I was asked to be on a TV documentary.
Oh, really?
Yes, but I missed the email by a couple of months. I'm not really sure. I think it went into a spam folder. Oh. And so they had already filmed. And I don't remember the name of it, but they already filmed. They had asked me. So possibly in the future, maybe somebody else will ask me again. It's possible. I'd be open to it.
Okay. And do you share information that other people report to you, or do you keep it secret for them?
So right now it's being archived, but it is going to be for public consumption at some point. Yes, it's not going to be like MUFON, where it's not going to be, where it's always going to be just locked up and nobody's ever going to have access to it. As a matter of fact, I advocate for that. We need a big database where we can share that information between all of the organizations, so everybody has access to all of it, which is really hard right now because we don't have a big database.
What other organizations are there that people can report to, and why do you think MUFON keeps a lid on it?
MUFON is for entertainment and for profit. And I think that MUFON, they're looking for, in my opinion, they're looking for maybe that golden report that they might get, that something actually turns up so they can take credit for it.
Right.
So instead of sharing with everybody else, because what happens is if MUFON takes a report, let's say I take a report, the UFO Reporting Center takes a report, let's say everybody takes a report, and then you're able to put a couple of reports together of people that had the same sightings and don't even realize that they've had it, right? Then we might be able to come up with something.
Right.
But by MUFON keeping their reports to themselves, that might not ever happen with some of the reports that we have out there. There might be something missing.
Right.
And so I think they're looking for something that they can put out there where they can cash out on it.
Yeah.
You know.
So you have one witness that reports seeing something and another witness that reports to MUFON seeing something, but these two never get together because they don't know that the other one exists. So it's good to put everything, all of your cookies in one basket, so to speak. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Keep all of your material together.
Yeah, so reports can be put together because you never know. You might have a sighting and someone else has the same sighting, or maybe a sighting nearby within the hour, or you just don't know who else has seen what you saw within the same time frame, and they can put that together. If MUFON is holding on to reports and they never plan to release any of them or put them in a database if they ever had them, they're just hoarding reports, then there might be sightings that can be matched up that will never be matched up. I think the UFO Reporting Center, again, I think that's the best place to follow your report.
Okay, so if someone wanted to get in touch with you to report a sighting or to talk to you about their sighting, how would they get in touch with you?
So they can go on X to, my handle is UFO Skeptic Hub, and so there's an underscore between each word. They can go on there and they can send me a message, and I can send them a link to the sighting reports. And they can also email me. It's San Antonio Ariel. What is it? San Antonio. I have somebody else here with me.
Oh.
What is it?
San Antonio Area Phenomenon Restoration.
Thank you. The whole email?
I believe so.
Okay. We forgot the email. So I haven't opened it up in a while. You know, I think the best place is to locate me on X because that's where I traffic more. So go to UFO_skeptic_hub, and I can send you the link. That would be the best place to contact me.
Well,
from there, if I need to communicate with people, then I can send them the actual email to communicate with me. So.
Well, we will definitely put that link under the show here so people can find it. And you're also on Instagram. Is that a place to contact you?
No, so my professional Instagram, I did end up getting rid of. So my Instagram is only my personal.
Okay.
So the Facebook page that I had, I did put on hiatus for now, and I'm focusing only on X. X seems to be a really big hub for this kind of information, for sharing information. And so I'm focusing on building a following, my platform over there. And so that's why I say for people to contact me over there would be the best place to find me. Because they can just go right to the messenger and send me a message, and I could just send them a link and to whatever they need.
Well, we'll definitely put a link under this, whether it's the audio or the video and audio, where you're getting your podcast from, and you'll be able to get in touch with Venus. Venus, thank you so much for being my guest. I have enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. And if you give me a chance after the show, I'll get you the actual email. Okay. Like I said, it's been a little while since I've logged into it because I've been on X and not actually using the email, but people can still reach me on there. So that way you can link the email as well. So I'll grab that for you. And
we'll
you can
definitely do that. And again, thank you so much for being my guest. We will see you next time on the show.
by